Welcome, Sexy Wookiees, to another episode of the Sexy Wookie Squadcast. We're reading a brand new book, Star Wars Ahsoka by E.K. Johnston. This week's chapters are chapters 1 through 6. Ahsoka, Ashla, Ahsoka, Ashla, Ahsoka, Ashla. We'll figure it out later. It's your boy, Sexy Leader.
Hey, sexy one.
Hey, it's your simp, sexy too. All right, guys.
Let's go.
So it's been a year since Order 66. What's it like reading glimpses into the new transition from the Republic to the Empire?
Well, yeah, let's see. I guess the Empire is kind of a new thing at this point, even though the Empire still resembles very closely the end of the Republic. So as far as like the world goes, I don't know that we saw so much of everybody's opinion on the Empire or politics in general. But as far as the world of Jedi and the Order 66 aftermath goes, I did really like getting the perspective that is unique to somebody who knew all these people, somebody who can tap into the Force, who could feel the absence of the Jedi in the galaxy, whereas most people hardly knew them or would barely notice that they're gone, or have bought into the propaganda that they were trying to rise up and take over the government and had to be destroyed. And so they're like, well, I guess Jedi were bad. So having the perspective of somebody that kind of is more like the audience, where we were rooting for the Jedi and it's a tragic thing that they all died, and her just feeling so lost and sad and like just still mourning, even though it's a year later, just still mourning their absence. I liked that because that's what I want to see, because it's such a huge event and then we need to feel that aftermath of it.
This is somebody who became who was in the order and then became somebody who is just a citizen, but then it's also that it's Ahsoka is a citizen on the run as well. So this, I mean, from her, like what Megan says, like from her point of view, is something because it's a world she knew opposite to a world that she doesn't know. We can get into maybe it's a question later on, but it's just like the movie. As the Empire rose, people became afraid, and to, like you said, a year after that, I like that people are quickly to forget what the old Republic was about, or that Republic was about, and quickly into Empire Day. And a lot of Empire Day is people are just celebrating because that's what that's all they know. So I mean, they didn't know. Citizens from other worlds probably didn't even know there was a purge on the Jedi Order.
Couldn't even tell the difference in the galaxy.
I mean, it would have been kind of different seeing it from a civilian standpoint who wasn't in the Jedi Order. So seeing the glimpses of, the guilt and the negative feelings that she has because her friends are gone, the only family she's ever really known. So that was interesting to read. And then how, like you guys said, it's still kind of similar, but I feel like at least in the tone and on the first planet that she was on, you could kind of feel the difference with the way that that the family that she was working for, that they were prominent enough to be friends with, Imperials, and that's something to be wary about. The kids coming to warn her. So you could feel some of that tension, especially with the Empire Day celebration and then the stormtroopers walking around. I was like, it's getting real.
It's starting.
It's getting real. So I hope we get to see more, especially like we get to hear from other civilians. That would be really interesting. But for now, I like seeing her point of view, because she was a Jedi, now she's not. She's still on the run, like Ronald said. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, I appreciate her point of view, but I think what you just said made me think like it would be intriguing to see just a regular old civilian's point of view, just somebody who wasn't even involved in government. Like, how does this affect them? Do they even care? Because that's one big issue that I always had when it comes to the repetitive story cycles of the Star Wars movies, is that the government just changes constantly. It changes to this, and then it's that, and then there's this, and then these people take over, and the galaxy's just like, well, I guess they rule us now. I don't know. So they're always just rolling over and accepting it every time the government changes hands. And it's like, does it even affect them? Do they care? Or are they just like, well, I guess these guys are in charge now, whatever. Like, it would be interesting to see, how does it affect the average citizen? And then probably not much. Way out here in the Outer Rim, like probably not much. So they might not even know or care.
I guess that's something that we're going to be finding out.
Maybe we will.
Are you ready for the next one?
Ready.
So we just arrived to Rauda. What do you guys think of the planet, the people, the atmosphere so far? Since we're always in core worlds and now we're way out, like middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was a new type of planet, and so I liked that, because a lot of times you'll just see either recycled name planets that we know very well, or like the same type of planet, or it'll just be like, it is this type of terrain and the whole planet is just this, I guess. But to have one that's just kind of uncivilized, it's just agriculture, it's just farming, and people do business with each other in almost in bartering terms, and that food isn't that valuable because it's not a scarcity. And so just kind of the economy that's grown up around this low-key agricultural planet that just really has no valuable resources or sway in the galaxy, and they're just kind of minding their business and whatever. I do find it weird that they are so far out of the way in the Outer Rim that it makes it a good place to lay low, which is why she chooses it. And yet everybody there, like, you think that it would be kind of more of a place that people do go to hide out and lay low, which means it would attract kind of scoundrel type people that maybe had done something bad and we're trying to find some place to hide. And yet everybody there is just like super nice and welcoming and asks no questions, and you don't even have to pay at the spaceport, and you can just pick a house and it's fully furnished and it has cleaning bots. And I'm just like, what kind of place is this? So I couldn't wrap my mind around that bit of world building at all. So unless there's an explanation for it, I just found it jolting. I was like, well, that was easy. Okay. Everybody instantly trusts her, and 3 chapters in, they're like, we're family now. And I'm like, you didn't earn that at all. Like, who are these people? Either they're like some creepy cult, or they're just way too trusting, and I hope the Empire wipes them out. Like,
oh my god,
that is survival of the fittest, and these people are weak. They are
okay, you're
oh my gosh,
city standpoint, like, just
no, from a galaxy, from Ahsoka's standpoint, if you're gonna like fully accept sketchy people who show up out of nowhere and won't tell you, are really secretive and don't want to tell you information on themselves, like, you are not long for survival. You are not going to be able to last in this galaxy. Like, you have to be tougher than that. So yeah, we'll see how they handle the Empire who has now shown up.
Was there too much to say about it? I could not get a clear view. That's why my background's the way it is, because it's like there has to be probably
like very different.
There has to be a cave back there, and they have caves.
Just wanted to find a cave.
This place. So so I'll say, I don't know. I mean, the agriculture is one of their biggest, I guess, export, import, or just a means of survival for the planet, kind of thing. I don't think they export, because I think it's just for their
that's what it seems like.
It's for their people who live in that planet to survive. The story about how, like, you can just live in a house that nobody's been living in them and no questions asked Man, that's a way to live, I think. That's
Got a
pretty
bed, a
cool.
table, a
It's
working
like
shower, and a cleaning droid. I'm
a
like,
free house, fully furnished. I'll
you
take
don't even
it.
have to like set up running water to this place? Okay.
No, but it's I think even with that type of house, like Ahsoka needed to stay in a place that could help her meditate, focus, and what she was needing to be. This place, I think, is just a hideout for her, because I need to quickly jump out of Tabesca to get here, and now it's like I'm here, and like my troubles from the Republic are still following me,
Mhm.
um or the Empire now, if you want to call it that way. um I'll just say Coruscant. But I don't think it'd be any
Imperial
different
Center.
if wherever she lives, she's just trying to find a place to get away from it all.
Yeah,
Mhm.
everywhere is temporary for her. She's got to be ready to move in an instant.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. And so that's why I like how she packs lightly, and honestly, like, just stay in the cave is your best bet, best hiding place.
That'd be interesting. I thought, like Megan said, it was a big shocker because I'm a city girl through and through. So it was very shocking that everyone's like, "Hi, welcome," when my first instinct would be like, "I'm about to get jumped or something."
Country folk aren't even that nice.
I'm just like, "Oh my gosh." I mean, like, there's like this super boony town. I'm not gonna say it because I'm sure if someone hears it, they're gonna say it's not boonies. It's definitely the boonies, up in Northern California, and they have like literally two street lights, and no one locks their doors at night. It's so crazy. Everyone's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And I'm like, "Don't look at me. I don't know you."
Don't talk to me.
Like whenever I would go visit, you know, years ago, whenever I'd go visit, even as a kid, I'd be like, God, this is so weird. And it just kind of reminded me of that. And I'm like, ew, I'm back in the boonies. But then I was like, oh, it's so sweet that they take care of one another and that, there's no pressure to be like, hey, here's my life story. It's just, hey, are you a good person? You're not going to do anything bad to us. Okay, welcome,
I can
So
see that, and I like that they take care of each other. I'm just like, wow, just instantly they accepted her. There wasn't even like a period of like, who's this new person? Why are they here? Can we trust them?
I mean, she
Never.
does good work for
Nobody.
them, so I guess that has to count for something. She could have done something within those first few days, week or whatever, but she didn't. So I guess they're kind of those people that are like, I'll trust you, you do me wrong, then I won't type of thing. I know that there's
I'd have
people like
liked to
that,
have
so it could
seen that
be.
though. Like
Mhm.
something or a period of her winning their trust or somehow earning a place in the society instead of immediately being everybody's best friend.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, it just feels really shallow. But I mean, we probably got a bunch more story to get to. So it's just like, okay, just, they don't see a lot of people. They were excited to see a new person and they were happy. But I'm like,
Yeah.
that's why they're weak. They did not even vet her.
Well,
Mm-mm.
she's been helping out with her droids to help with the harvest, so I mean that has to
But
count for
that's because they
something.
already trusted her enough to like go hang out and talk. I'm like, she needed to get to that point.
I mean,
So
if I were in their shoes, I'd probably be like, let's bring her out. Let's see how she does around all these people. So I feel like that was probably one of the vetting systems.
yeah, but I'd be suspicious that she just didn't say much about herself or her past. They'd be like,
Mhm.
no, is she bringing like trouble? Are people gonna be looking for her? Are they gonna
Mhm.
find her here? Like instantly suspicious. If you live in the outer rim, you got to be suspicious of every shady person that just shows up and steals a house and doesn't
Mhm.
pay to dock their ship in your spaceport.
Well,
I'm
she
like,
asked, and Caden was like, "Yeah, we don't pay, and the last owner didn't
I don't
pay,
know
so
how
why do
that
you have
works.
to
Who
pay?"
maintains this place? So yeah, that's confusing. But I'm suspicious on their behalf. Like I'm not
Mhm.
suspicious of Ahsoka because we know her. But now I'm just like, who are all these people that will like so welcomely invite in a new person, or should I say victim? Is this a
Mhm.
cult? Is this freaking Jonestown in space?
That's not how Jonestown worked.
But this could be the space equivalent. They're just
That's
like, oh, a new person. Now your family. We're bringing you food. Here's some Kool-Aid.
that's no, Megan, no.
Watch out, Ahsoka. You better just stay in that cave.
Oh my god.
Just saying. It's too suspicious.
Oh, are you ready for the next one? I think that answered.
Yeah, I
me.
think that covered it.
All right. So we just started and the Empire arrived. I know we're super fresh into the book, but any predictions besides Megan wanting them all to die, apparently?
I don't like weak characters. I was really surprised to see the Empire show up already.
Mhm.
According to my Kindle, we are just barely about 20%, I think, through this book. And I'm like, wow, this is like supposed to be end of Act 1 kind of thing. So this isn't going to follow the plot line story arc beats that I had anticipated it would, because my first immediate thought, and I bet it will follow this trope, but it can't be all that it does because we're way too early for that. But it's probably going to be the stinking teach the peaceful villagers to fight back trope that was the worst episode of Mandalorian that was originally done better than anyone else who's tried to copy it since by Seven Samurai. It is so predictable and lame, and it's just absolutely a trope. So I have a feeling that's what's going to happen, but I don't think that's the main plot, because this whole rest of this book can't be about just that. Like, that's probably what's going to happen first, and then it's going to lead to complications that then make up the rest of the story. But yeah, so that's my thought. She's going to teach a bunch of farmers how to fight back. She's probably going to be like, oh, better grab my stuff and leave, but I can't just leave. They're my family now, even though it's completely unearned. And then she'll be like, no, I got to stay and help them. This is my prediction.
Okay.
Fair enough. At this point, I thinking of a year, the Empire is still hunting down Jedi, or anybody who's probably, in ties with the Jedi Order. So this Empire is really going after those people, I think. So it doesn't matter. I think at this point, Outer Rim, outside of the Outer Rim, like there's no hiding. They're gonna flesh them all out. And that's what the Empire's doing already. So I think like that's why
I
they're
don't think that's why they're going, though.
Yeah.
They said that they were going because they needed a place to produce more food.
Yeah, they need like a steady food supply.
That's why
And
he
that's what I'm
picked the
thinking.
moon.
I wasn't clear what the resource of Rada was. Like, I know they're harvesting something, but
agriculture.
Like, what are you harvesting? Because it's like the payment for the droids
Something
was
edible.
portions, and I was just like, man, it's like they pay in portions too, not actual credits. So I don't know if credits were scarce at this point, but I don't know. I'm excited for this new Empire. Hopefully, it's an Empire that's gonna
He's
be
rooting for them too.
ruthless.
Oh my goodness.
They gotta be ruthless. Because
One bloodshed and slaughter. Let's go.
from saying
my gosh.
from reading Death Star, I got a point where I said, "Oh, Darth Vader wasn't a Sith Lord for so long." I didn't put that into my head that, oh well, we have a good 18 years, 19 years before we see Luke. So, and if this is the start of it, well then, I want to know if everything that the Empire was doing at this point is all they're doing, all this going to different planets, going to find everybody, was to, if like you said, they're looking to produce food, they might be looking food to produce for the people who are building the Death Star at this point. So hopefully it's something like
for
that,
their
where,
army or whatever.
So
Space
we're
Iowa.
a year in to the Empire. I am going to go a little crazy, and I'm predicting there's going to be an Inquisitor. It's not going to be Quizzy. It's not going to be the grand one. It's probably going to be some nobody. I'm calling it. I'm calling it now, because Jedi on the run. It's been a year. Of course, there's going to be more. They're slowly trying to wipe them out.
Okay, well, you know a little more about
That's
Inquisitors than I do.
good
So
pick, yeah.
tell me, do they just like willy-nilly just travel around wherever? Do they only go when they suspect that there's something worth their time?
So based on my research and like what they said in Rebels, the Inquisitors were people who used to be Jedi who were converted. I never really understood how they got to them. But there's the Grand Inquisitor. So these are people that Palpatine was like, y'all are going to do my dirty work for me because why not? And I have other stuff for Vader to do. So
like
the Grand
Mara Jade.
Inquisitor trains the other ones. And then, you know, there's second sister, fifth brother, sixth brother, seventh sister. So they go by ranks like that. I don't know why, but they do. And I know that there's more in like comics and other books than the ones that we've seen in Rebels. So I'm like, okay, I feel like one of them has to pop up here because this is the perfect opportunity.
It does seem like the perfect matchup for the showdown, you know?
So just to say, I've never done any research on Inquisitors that were not already popping up on Rebels. I just know that there's more. Oh, and the two from Jedi Fallen Order. So I know that there's more. I know that there's some in comics and books. I don't know which ones. So I feel like, okay, this would be a good time because, you know, a year in, they're still going to be looking for other Jedi to, you know, wipe out. And so they have it's called like the Inquisitor
headquarters.
Yes, it's the Inquisitor.
No, Inquisitor HQ.
Yes,
Stop.
legit.
I was joking. That was sarcastic.
No. It's the headquarters. It's on Coruscant in Imperial City. And so they have that, and they're sent off when there's a lead. So basically, the Inquisitors are the lackeys for Vader and Palpatine.
So they would have to have a lead to send one here. Like somebody would have tipped them off.
Probably they'd have to have a lead, or they might just be like, hey, go check out the place, you know, something.
That's what's going to happen. It's going to be, she teaches the peaceful villagers how to fight back. They do the whole shtick. It's going to be the trope. They fight off the Empire, but that's what tips them off. They're like, hey, something weird's going on. We just got beat by this thing, and there was this one that was doing the stuff. That's what's going to happen. Yes. My prediction grows.
I'm calling it. There's going to be an Inquisitor. I don't know who. I mean, clearly not one that's been in the TV show, but there's going to be an Inquisitor, and it's going to be awesome.
Okay, question. Yes. Do you think there are going to be clones among the stormtroopers, and how would that complicate things?
I think there will be, because they were being transitioned
I would like to see
into
that.
The stormtroopers. I'm
like
calling it now
really
too.
Good...
If there's clones, I'm gonna cry.
Like that would be a really good dilemma for her. If they don't do this, I'm gonna riot, because like that would be such a resonant moment for her character.
Yeah.
To have to face down clones again.
I mean, I'm sure that she'll have to, because remember when she was leaving the other planet, she was checking the Force to see if it was clones or not. So I feel like that maybe was like a little hint, like, hey, she's gonna deal with them later.
Maybe. Okay. Promising. I'm slightly more looking forward to the trope than I was.
I'm not ready for this. Oh my god, I'm not ready for this. You know how much I love the clones.
I know you love the clones. So this better happen. EK, don't let me down.
Oh god. All right, I'm predicting I'm gonna start crying.
Oh, can you like record as you read? Just do like, I just want to see your like reactions. Just do like a smash cut of like every time that you scream out loud or start crying while you're reading.
We'll just Zoom call and we're all silently reading and we'll hear each other's reactions.
You know what? People watch weird stuff online. If you just had a live stream, like an OnlyFans of just you reading books, somebody would probably pay for it. You could make money and read books and entertain people.
You know what? Maybe, especially like, oh god. So I always joke that I'm very terrible to watch TV shows with, especially in The Mandalorian, because half the time I'm making some inhuman sound, or the other half I'm like yelling because I'm just so excited or so upset or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I might actually be interesting to watch with, depending.
People watch weird stuff. Like watching other people watch stuff is probably somebody's kink. Like,
oh my god,
might be able to monetize this.
You don't even have to talk. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, OnlyFans, but for reactions.
But just reactions, yeah. Reactions to reading books, reactions to watching your TV show. Yeah, I can see it. Coming soon.
All right, guys.
Sexy Wookiees
in the comments, would you pay to watch it, and how much? Like $5-10 a month? I don't know how much people charge on OnlyFans.
Who knows? None of us have ever been there, right, Ronald? He's being real quiet down there right now, I noticed.
Yeah. Mm,
Sitting on the bench.
guys,
Jumped.
last question.
Let's do it.
I picked this one because I was like, oh, let's do something a little fun. So, what would your fake name and or identity be if you were a Jedi on the run?
Not to copy her, but whenever somebody that I don't would just ask me my name that I don't want to actually tell them my name, I always tell them my middle name, which is Ashley, and that is kind of her fake name as well. But that's always my first instinct when I want to give them not my real name. So that's probably what I would do.
Well, hey, hold on, sexy
It's
Wookiees,
easy
you have
to
it here
remember.
first. We know Megan's middle name here and have the red light special going on right now, like a little siren.
I know. So yeah, if anybody out there is watching and they're like, "Oh, look, it's Ashley," and then they're like, "Wait, that's not what her name says on the icon right down there. She told me a fake name."
Okay.
Then now you know why. I'm sorry.
I like that, and I'm gonna keep the trend here. I also use my middle name because, unlike Megan's, my close family knows me by my middle name, and my middle name should have been my first name. So yeah, I would say Adrian. So to keep in the A's into this book, Ahsoka alive.
Then I have a feeling I know what Jasmine's is going to be.
Actually, no. So
come on, do your other name that begins with an A.
So growing up, I would go by my other name and then all the nicknames that came from that. And now that I'm older, my social name is Jasmine. You know, to my friends, my family still calls me by the other name and the nicknames that come from it. So what I do when I meet someone that I'm just like, nope, I have a list of fake names and identities to go with them. I give it to people like I know I'm never going to see again. So if they're like, what's your name? And I'm just like, I don't want you to know my name. So I have a few fake names. One of them is my Instagram name. So sometimes I just go by Verity. I'm like, my name's Verity. Or if I'm feeling lazy, I'll just be like, oh, my name's Jay. Jay, Jasmine, you know, whatever. So I'm just like, yeah, my name's Jay. So like I have other fake names because I can't use my first name because people already know me by that. And then all the possible nicknames that come from that, people know me by. So I'm like, I need something new and fresh. So sorry to kill the A train.
We were on such a roll. Yeah. But okay. Yeah, so you've got other ones. Okay, but the question is, like, how good you are making up backstory to go with it, like fake story, because that's what shocked me about when she gets into the bar with these people and they start asking, and I'm like, wait, I thought she said that she had a whole fake cover story made up, and then she was like struggling to try to think of answers to every question, and then she just told him the daggum truth. And I was like, wait, I thought you had a whole fake identity to go along with all this.
Did she say that? I don't remember.
Yeah, she was like stuttering and she's like, oh, I was adopted.
No, but like, did she say she had a backstory?
Yeah, there was one point where she was talking to Caden, or Caden was coming over and she was like, she had a whole backstory prepared in case Caden asked a bunch of questions, but then it turns out she didn't. So she didn't need to use her made up backstory, but she was always prepared with one. And then when the time came to actually do it, and she's like, yeah, I know I moved around a lot of places, except when I was this age, but then all of a sudden I started moving. And I'm like, why would you even say that? Like, have a completely opposite backstory to what is your real story. I don't know.
I like how you asked that question.
Frustrated.
I like that question because I remember reading Most Wanted, and I said that was probably my weakness. And till today, I haven't really thought about how I'd fix that.
Lying is your weakness?
No, like having that alias type of that backstory kind of thing. And how could I become a good rebel spy if, you know, I can't do. So I think for me, if somebody were to tell me, oh, this is who you're going to be, here's your fake identity, go with it, I can do that. But like with Ahsoka and doing it on the fly, I think it's a little bit harder for me. And I would probably be in Ahsoka's shoes in a way because, well, not the part where she's still trying to figure out stuff
Mm.
and trying to, settle in. But I think for me, it's hard to just be on the fly and be like, oh, I'm from so and so. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to meet me at Galaxy's Edge or Batu, excuse me, you would I'd probably give you my true life story. So,
Come on.
yeah, well, I mean, as I said, hey, I got to fix that. I'm gonna be a better rebel spy coming this year. So,
All right,
Well,
not
we'll
bad.
practice. Like everybody knows that that's my favorite thing is coming up with wild and exciting fake backstories.
Mm.
Like these poor fools have all had to wait in line at Disneyland with me. And I don't do it as much to you. I would always do it to my siblings or other poor fools who have
Wait,
waited in
really?
line.
She does this every time we're in line for something.
But no, we'll be in line for Indiana Jones, and I'll suddenly
yeah,
turn
right.
to the person and I'll be like, "What brings you to the ancient temple? See me, I'm searching for," and then
Right.
I'll just make up this whole backstory on why I'm
You
in
guys
this
do that,
place.
yeah.
I
Actually, you
did.
know
Didn't I
what?
do that to you on like
Here,
Space Mountain
honestly, I
once? And I'm
want to
like,
tell
why
the
are you at the
viewers right now,
spaceport?
you're getting a big, spoiler alert because now we have something that Megan can bring to the, the rest of the two. We're not like Relics is not really covert, so probably that's something you can ask Megan
Oh
for a little
yeah,
bit of
let
help.
me take the lead. Easy.
Like
But
that.
then I
There
do
you
the
go.
same thing every time I do background for TV shows or whatever. You're just background. You're sitting at a table in a diner or you're walking down the sidewalk with another person pretending to talk. I always, and it probably annoys people, but I always come up with this elaborate backstory on who we are and why we're here and what our
Mhm.
relationship is. And it, like just so that we can goof off and make up a story the entire time we're there. And
Mm.
by the end, it's
That's
like this
great.
epic and tale of the adventures of us two. And we're like, why isn't the show
Right,
about
right.
us? You know. So that is my favorite thing is making up the story
Mm.
of who I am and where I came from. Not necessarily the name. Name will just, Ashley, whatever.
Take it.
Nice.
Yes, indeed. So, full disclosure, in case anyone couldn't tell from the beginning, I have never seen Clone Wars, Rebels. I don't know. The video game, nothing. I know nothing of Ahsoka. So this is an introductory course to the, I guess, canon version of events. I read a buttload of books about Order 66 and all that nonsense that
Mhm.
now belong in Legends. So this whole everybody having a chip in their head, this is new to me. Inquisitors and stuff, like I think there were Inquisitors in some old Legend things, but not exactly the same as they are in this version. So it will be interesting, and I will probably not understand. But I was afraid that so far that the book would rely a lot on people already knowing who she was and what happened to her and everything. But it wasn't. Even somebody like me who just was jumping into this not knowing the character, I was like, oh, I get a real good sense of what she believes in and where she came from and what she went through and how she got here. So that was nice. It wasn't assuming that you've seen the show.
I thought she did a great job of that with giving backstory without it all just being backstory. It's just like,
Right.
okay, well, it's relevant now. Let me bring it in. And I
Mhm.
thought she did a good job on that. So that was something I was curious about. I was like, wait, yeah, Megan's never read any of this. How does she feel? So it's nice knowing that, you're caught up to speed basically.
Yeah, no, that is very, very good. So if you're like me and you don't watch TV shows, you don't have no idea about this, like this book is still digestible. You will understand who the characters are, what they're doing so far. But speaking of how far we are, where are we getting to by next week?
Next week, we will be reading chapter 7 through 12.
7 through 12 for next week. Thank you. And then, like I mentioned on Instagram, this book is free on Amazon Prime for your Kindle right now, or your Prime Reader, whatever it is you have. And then we got some helpful comments on that post from
Which they don't
librarians.
sponsor us, by the way.
No, sorry, not sponsored. No money.
Yeah, we're
no
not
money
sponsored by
here.
Amazon, but
We're
yeah,
only getting
you
our
can get
money
it
from
free
the
there.
OnlyFans.
We're
Where
poor.
we will react to TV shows. Uh, But yeah, I guess there's like library apps that also
not
have it for
sponsored.
free. So you have no excuse. Get this book. It will be easy. And then read along with us 7 through 12 for next week. So that brings us to a close for the introduction of a brand new story with a brand new character and a brand new era for us. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you for joining us. It was good to see the lovely faces of all my sexy Wookiees. But that will be it for us today. So good night for now. Sexy Wookiees signing out. Sexy Wookiees.